So, ladies and gentlemen, the closing chapter on the war against Professor Anton. I'll profess victory. Why not? There's no way he could have won the battle, because I have 3 questions here that prove that he couldn't have won the battle. They were left on my comments section, my page. He asks, first of all, am I acting out of fear, hostility, or maybe whatever else? Fear or hostility? Well, I can think of a reason I would act out of fear by declaring war against Professor Anton. The fear that I would have, if I could use that answer, maybe that's not the answer, we'll get to that. The fear that I would have is that he would actually have some influence on a young, struggling, honest mind. And that would then lead to effects in the world that I'm going to live in, that I do live in. In the future, I'm going to live in a world with people who have been taught by people like Professor Anton, and therefore they can't get a single thought through their brain, no matter what happens. So that's what I'm afraid of, is that he'll affect some young, honest, struggling mind and get them to stop thinking and just let their mind float in this non-reality of ridiculousness. Or do I fear Professor Anton? No, I don't particularly fear Professor Anton. He couldn't possibly say it. This is why I do these extremely rude and provocative attacks on people, because I don't mind what they say. I've got a thick skin, and I'm confident in my project. So, no, I don't fear Professor Anton. Is it hostility then, maybe? Well, let me put it in the terms Ayn Rand did. Ayn Rand said, Peikoff said, why do you get so mad when people talk about, that there might not be anything in the world at all, we might not even exist? She says, I get that mad because that's not just an attack on my mind. That is an attack on every single value I have ever held or ever will hold. So when Professor Anton attacks reality and says nothing actually exists, nothing is nothing, everything is nothing, whatever, that kind of crap, it's more than just a word game in an ivory tower. He doesn't think so, but it is. It is an attack on every possible value any human being could ever hold, ever, including the ones I do hold and will hold and have held. So it's a pretty serious situation. Am I hostile to that? Short of using weaponry and physical damage, yes, I am hostile to that, and I don't mind using weaponry and physical damage against, Iran or something like that. So I fear not Professor Anton, just his effect on the world. And I'm hostile to Professor Anton and his effect on the world, to the extent that he has any. His second question, why did I choose that particular video? Now, if you watched his video reply to my attack on him, my beginning of the war, he said that I used it because he mentioned at some point in that video a version of YouTube where people would be paid or could pay to have their stuff seen or something, and he didn't really go into why that would be what I mentioned, but odd. No, that's not why I chose it. Actually, I had, for 2 days, in my sidebar on my computer, I had like 10 videos of his. Against individualism was one. I mean, you can just open any video at random, and just is the most utter nonsense. So the reason that video finally was chosen was because I just happened to start listening to that one. Greg, my roommate, was sitting near on his computer, and we kept backing it up and trying to make sense of what he was saying, and Greg just said, we'll type it. We'll type it out. And we just did it. I had listened to and made notes on quite a few other videos. I shan't go into attacking them. It wouldn't really be different from the attack that was made. So that's why that particular video. We happened to be watching it. I happened to be watching and listening to it. Greg was sitting there and started typing so that we could try to straighten out the sentences and stuff. Another lesson you can learn from Professor Anton is how to reduce verbiage, cut down on word use so that you get your meaning across more efficiently. That is a virtue. Who's it? One of the founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin perhaps, you should try to say in the fewest possible words what you mean to say. Something like that. Adding crap in doesn't help your cause. His third question then. He is not threatened by or interested in me, Mr. Cropper. Professor Anton's not threatened by me or interested in me. Right? Not even interested. Doesn't even care about any of the stuff I say. So why am I threatened by or interested in Professor Anton? Well, I think from what I mentioned above, I'm threatened by him because he's a teacher and might affect the minds of honest students, and I'm interested in him only like I'm interested in seeing nuclear bombs go off, or I might take a glance on the way past a car wreck to see how mangled the car is and stuff. But that's all the interest I have in Professor Anton. I won't be watching many more of his videos, if any ever, unless I feel like I want to torture myself.